Okay, Nerimon survey time. Excitement. Yeah, okay, calm down. Manufactured excitement is no excitement at all, unless it's manufactured by Mattel. Before I start, I just want to show you this. It just came in the mail. It says, Love Life. It's a survey from the British Heart Foundation. I don't know who's going to send in that survey and say, Love Life? Nah. You can take it or leave it. Nah. I've just realised it says, Hate heart disease on the back. Of course I do. What do you mean? So question one, what's your biggest fear? My biggest fear is if moths grew to a size where they could take over the world. I hate moths, I think they're rubbish. Can you imagine if they had huge wings and giant faces? They already drink people's tears, terrifying. And when you kill a moth, it doesn't bleed, it just goes into that horrible dusty smush. Have you ever smushed a moth? I'm pretty sure they're not even animals. Blech. How did you find out Santa wasn't real? I've got two stories to tell about this, okay? The first thing is about me. I remember staying up one Christmas Eve to see Santa. I knew if I wasn't asleep, he wouldn't come in and see me, so I kept my eyes shut and just peeked slightly. Anyway, midnight came and went, and no Santa. I went to sleep, woke up next morning, there were presents. Now I took this as proof that Santa was real, because if it was just my parents, how would they have known I wasn't really asleep? So I went into school in January and got in loads of fights. The other story is about my cousin Matthew, who I think to this day believes Santa is real. He's 17 now. He and his mother were staying with us for Christmas a couple of years ago, and my mother suggested to his mother that she might want to mention to him at some stage, in a nice way, that Santa wasn't perhaps quite as real as he thought he was. So immediately, Matthew's mother went over to him and said, Matt, you know Santa? And my mum was stood behind her going, no, not now. I meant like after Christmas. And Matt went, yeah? And his mum went, Santa, yeah? You know, he's not... And my mum went, so Matt's mum went, you know he's not English? What? And then she went on and said, he's from Pakistan. Why? What's the best idea you've ever had? Doing silly voices. I like to think that my whole life is coming up with silly ideas that are fun. But one that sticks in my mind is the indie version of my album. You can get a version of my album with hand-drawn, personalised one-off artwork, which I just think is super cool. You can't get that from Radiohead, can you? Yet. What's the most embarrassing thing your parents have ever done? Ah, my parents aren't that embarrassing. I know some people think that parents are really embarrassing. I think I've embarrassed them more than they've embarrassed me. Like the time, for example, that my mother always tells me about when I went number 2 on her friend's doorstep because I was bored and wanted to leave. I don't remember that. If you could only have one career for the rest of your life, what career would that be? Obviously music, obviously. I want to be a musician. Basically I want to be Jackson Browne or Neil Young or Paul Simon, tour around the world in the back of a van. In fact, when I left school, it was kind of a toss-up between going to university and buying a van and touring around Europe, phoning a couple of towns ahead and finding a gig for that weekend, sleeping in the back of the van. It would have been so cool, I still want to do that. Has anyone got a van they can lend me? Who would you like to see answer the survey next? Now, it's not a tag game. I was tagged by Billy and Sammy and Tomek, but it's not a tag game, so I'm not tagging anyone, but I'd love Katie to answer, and I'd love Julia to answer. Who else? Joltin' Joe Siddle. And I'll catch you kippers further on up the river. Okay, goodbye.
I am George.
Okay, that end clip reminded me that I needed more end clips. Would you guys send me some? You can still leave them as a video response until December or whatever, when they'll be sunsetting the feature, whatever the hell that means. Sunsetting the feature. It's not even a word.